There must be always remaining in the individual life some place for the singing of angels, some place for that which in itself is breathlessly beautiful, and by an inherent prerogative, throwing all the rest of life into a new and creative relatedness, something that gathers up in itself all the freshest of experience from the drab to commonplace areas of living and glows in one bright light of penetrating beauty and meaning. Then passes. These are the words of theologian Howard Thurman. Chautauqua Institution is such a place glowing with beauty and meaning. And while we may not be angels, we gather, this faithful remnant, here tonight in service, tradition, and ritual to close the 2016 Chautauqua season. In doing so, we reflect on that which has been specific to this season's work and experience, and that which is transcendent, that connects us to all who, over 143 years, have gathered in these groves seeking meaning and turning their eyes toward what Dr. Thurman called the growing edge, that part of life just beyond the boundary of our sight, experience, and understanding. By the very act of this ceremony, we adhere to the humility of the founders of Chautauqua, who saw the purposes of this institution as being in support of lives lived well beyond these gates. Day is dying in the west, and this gloaming to darkness transition is a time of reflection and a time of transition. We come here to muse and meditate, commune, and quietly find that deep inner place where the best of what happens here finds resonance. We come here to breathe and witness the breathing of others. The air in this remarkable place is full of voices. Nature gives us the backbeat of cicadas to the gospel sonnet memorials in the Hall of Philosophy. Add to that the thrumming of wings as a flock of birds rise as one and streak across the lake. The tympanic breeze through the trees, the percussion of heavy rain, the haunting early morning cry of a dove greeting the day, the soothing lapping of the lake against the shore. We are awash in the voices of nature. The air here also vibrates with the movement of bow across string, the breath of lungs against reed, lips against metal, stick against drum, clapper against bell, the voices of singers, the heavy athletic breathing of dancers, the words uttered at every lecture, just as it has been for nearly a century and a half. The air that Jared forces through the Massey organ literally vibrates to the very core of this building and all gathered within. All of that air, that spirit, the aspiration, inspiration that hangs in the amp, around the practice shacks, around the rehearsal halls, in the linen seats and the air in the arts quad and galleries. This is the living spirit of Chautauqua. Throughout this service, we have been engaged in a shared and yet very private exercise as the air in this amp bends just so, and our loved ones and friends with whom we have shared this space are present to us. My heart is full of gratitude tonight for that cloud of witnesses, some of whom made this experience possible for Jane and me, and many, many more who embraced us, taught us, scolded us, supported us, laughed and cried with us, shared stories, and illuminated truth. And I am grateful to you for your faith in this institution and your willingness to join in the creative work of making our assembly real and relevant. I wish you could see you the way I do from here, as you listen to a lecture, a symphony, watch dance, worship God, stomp your feet to a familiar tune, and join Jared and this wonderful choir. You may recall from this past week, Wynton Marsalis declaring, "Singing gives a community purpose. A song lets us reach across time." We all know the lyrics. It connects as few things can, and at the core of our common experience. And as he spoke these words, I was reminded that last Wednesday, a young woman in her mid-20s gave her very first speech on this platform. She set a very high bar for first-timers to come. Cecile Simon is a Grammy-winning jazz vocalist, but through her talk, she took us on a trip through the history of jazz music, wherein the lessons had to do with race, gender, economics, culture, justice, prejudice, and history. It was one of the smartest, most effective presentations I have heard in this space that has known true brilliance. The fact is, the conversation this past week has been one of the richest, precisely because we told the truth through stories and song about issues fundamental to who we are as human beings and members of this society. It is a conversation that is necessary and absent in most communities. And the way the voice of this experience will find its greatest impact is through your relating these stories at your school board meetings, religious gatherings, workplace conversations, and in your homes among loved ones across generations. We have an opportunity to raise the level of conversation in this country by modeling what we've experienced this week: compelling storytelling, the power of culture, and the capacity to discuss difficult issues without demonizing those who disagree. We can be the voices of a new Chautauqua movement and dedicate ourselves to humanizing and elevating the conduct of public discourse. And each year, as we return for this assembly, this sabbatical from the world outside, we renew ourselves, restore our resolve, freshen our spirit, and expand our understanding and expressive capacities. That is what Miller and Vincent intended for this space: an annual recommitment to lifelong learning and a life of meaning and stewardship, a reverent life, an artful life. I am reminded of the poem by Linda Paston that I shared with you during the closing of the Three Taps of 2004. It spoke to me then of the physical exercise of this ritual in our summer, and the much larger ideas involved in Dr. Thurman's declaration about the moment that then passes. I ask you, what is more fundamental to the human condition than the idea that time passes? It's called leaving the island. We roll up the rugs and strip the beds by rote. Summer expires as it has done before. The ferry is no simple pleasure boat. Nor are we simply cargo, though it will float. Alongside heavy trucks, their stink and roar, we roll up rugs and strip the beds by rote. This bit of land, whose lines glaciers wrote, becomes the muse of memory once more. The ferry is no simple pleasure boat. I'll trade my swimsuit for a woolen coat. The torch of autumn has but small allure. We roll up rugs and strip the beds by rote. The absences these empty shells denote suggest the losses winter has in store. The ferry is no simple pleasure boat. The songs of summer dwindle to one note, the foghorn's blast, which drowns this closing door. We roll up rugs and strip the bed by rote. The ferry is no simple pleasure boat. Our island, these sacred grounds, have been glowing with a bright light of beauty and meaning. And we have been most fortunate to have bathed in that light during these last 9 weeks. And now it passes. And next summer, you will assemble for the 144th time, and things will be different. The amphitheater will be restored, and a new leader will call the assembly to order by tapping the gavel 3 times. A new voice, a new chapter in Chautauqua's history begins. And you, good people of Chautauqua, will maintain this air of civility, the spirit of creativity, the breathless moments of beauty. In short, you will once more give this exercise the best of yourself. One last time, I ask to share a moment with you. Please join me in taking a deep breath. Let's hold each other in this moment of reflective silence. I tap the gavel 3 times. Chautauqua 2016 has concluded.